Hey everybody, name's David, and I'm doing a re-blue on my Walther PPK. A couple months back, this is my gun that I keep under my bed here for protection. And a couple months back, the lovely cats decided to pee where my gun was, and I didn't know it. And it put a bunch of rust spots on. So what I ended up doing was I got some of that cheap cold blue paste, the Birchwood Casey paste, and I put it on, and it did a really bad job. Didn't cover up the spots where the rust was very well at all, and it wasn't the same color. So I finally decided that I was going to re-blue everything. So I've taken apart most of the parts of the gun. Got my exploded diagrams here, which help you out a lot for putting stuff back together. Also, I'm pretty good at remembering where everything goes, but if you're not, it helps to kind of put stuff apart in different spots, and maybe even label, so you know, okay, this is part of the trigger assembly, this stuff goes in the slide, whatnot. Had a little acetone soak here to get some of the major gunk off. And then over here I got my ultrasonic cleaner, which I have heated, and I have some, don't have any time on it right now, I turned it off so you guys don't have to hear it, but removing a lot of the grime and stuff and the grease on it. And then what I'm going to do next, which will be my next video once I'm done with this, is I'm using some of Brownell's Rust and Bluing Remover. You don't use it full strength. You mix it with water and get it warm, and then dip your parts in. I'm pretty much just re-bluing the major parts. I'm going to do the pins too, just because I'll have it going. But yeah, so far that's what's going on, and I will post another video with the rest of the process. Alright, so just a little update. I have mixed a third of Brownell's Rust Remover and deionized water together, and it's on a hot plate. I have some quenching water, and then I have just a couple parts over here. I'm doing them kind of in batches. It's slowly removing the bluing. I don't have the heat up too high because I don't want to pit the metal. I actually just used a straighten coat hanger that I moved all of the, removed all of the paint or epoxy or whatever is on the outside because it's just steel. You don't want to mix metals. You definitely don't want to use aluminum or anything. The Brownell's is phosphoric acid, so you don't want to put anything bad in there. Not 100% sure if you can see, probably not, but there's a little tiny bit of a cloud above on the right side. I don't think you guys can see it, but that's actually the bluing being removed very slowly. I'm going to heat this up probably another 20 degrees or so. It's only at 70. It's pretty cold outside right now. I'm doing it at the edge of the garage. Ideally, you'd want to do it all the way outside. It's more important with the bluing process because the bluing process makes fumes. But even so, I have my gloves on. I'm wearing long sleeves just in case I get any on me. And I'll do another update when I have all of the parts de-blued. And then we're going to polish them up really nice and then blue them. Alright, so we got the slide in there right now, and it is definitely bubbling. Getting all of the rust that was left on there and all the bluing off. If these parts, they have some soot on them right now, so I just need to get the soot off, but they're actually de-blued. But as you can see, I have a coat hanger that I'm using to kind of keep it in there and kind of be able to remove it. I have deionized water as a bath. And then over here, these parts have actually been deblued. They have not been carded or anything yet, or polished. So they kind of have a haze on them. They're actually in some acetone right now. So that way they won't, you know, rust or anything. You know, because they'll rust if they're staying wet. I want to make sure that they stay degreased. This guy looks like he's about ready to pull out, so I'm going to get back to that and update you guys once I have everything out, and I'm getting ready to polish it. Alright, so I have everything deblued. You can kind of see it now. It's all in the acetone bath because I don't want it to rust. Everything looks pretty good. What I am going to do now is start removing things piece by piece. I have a heat gun that I'll just pass over it a couple times just to evaporate the acetone, which I'm doing outside, not in the garage. Definitely, you don't want the fumes. Right now, I can't even smell the acetone, and I'm right over it. It's so cold out here. But I want to evaporate all the acetone off. And then I'm going to start with, on some of the bad spots, I'll probably start with 600, work my way up to 12, and then do either just a carding brush or a quadruple aught steel wool. Make sure I get everything nice and polished. You want to polish it before you apply the bluing. And then I'm actually right now have my own reverse osmosis deionizer, so I'm filling up a 200 milliliter beaker with that, and I'm going to start making the mixing the bluing salts. I'm using some sodium hydroxide I got from Essential Oil Depot. They are a good spot to get it. It's pretty cheap. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I ordered it in bulk because that was all it came in. But I'm actually not going to use that much. I am using a recipe that calls for 1 gallon of water, 5 pounds of sodium hydroxide, and 2.5 pounds of sodium nitrate. But I don't need that much. I'm not bluing that much. So I scaled it down and scaled down the quantity, that concentration of the salts as well. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the concentration I'm using will be, but I'll check in just a second, and on my next video I will update you guys with what I'm doing over there by the hot plate. Till next video. Alright, so I used a carding brush and some steel wool, and I got them all nice and shiny. You can see now all the bluing is completely removed, and they're all polished. And I'm still mixing up my bluing salts, but as soon as I get done with that, these guys are getting dried off out of the acetone, and dipped in the bluing solution for about 15 to 20 minutes, give or take. It depends on the heat of it. And then the bluing will be applied, and then they're going to be placed in a solution of hot water to stop the bluing and to remove the salts. And then I can coat them with a water displacing oil and let it wait for just a little bit to make sure I get all the water out, and then it's going to be ready for reassembling. Alright, so I was weighing my chemicals. I calculated what I need, which is right down here. I'm doing 1,800 milliliters of water, and it's 2-to-1 ratio, and that's about what I need. 540 grams of sodium nitrate and 1,070 about grams of lye. So I just measured that out. That's in here, and then there's also some over there already. These are the pieces I'm either not bluing. I decided not to do the pins because they look fine. And then if you go over here, pardon the mess, if you go over here, I have this going. It's already got about 400 grams of sodium hydroxide in it. This is where you're very, very, very careful because sodium hydroxide is very caustic. Can take your skin right off and go even further than that. It's very dangerous. As for right now, until I put the sodium nitrate in it, it's not going to give off any fumes, but once I do that, then I'm going to have to be very careful. I have the other door open for some cross breeze, and I do have a fan right here that I can turn on if I need to make sure that those fumes go outside. The reason that you add the sodium hydroxide to the water is by adding a soluble salt, you're raising the boiling point of the water. The boiling point for this recipe is, if I recall correctly, and I'll have to check it before I do it obviously, at 165 degrees Celsius, which is pretty freaking hot. Obviously water boils at 220 degrees Fahrenheit, so it wouldn't be 165 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's pretty hot. This is called hot water bluing. The other version of this is where you actually, I'm not sure if it's in the same ratio or not, but you actually heat the salts up themselves to their melting point. The reason I'm not doing this is, one, because that kind of scares me. I don't have the ability to heat that hot. And also, the sheer volume of salts you would need, what I would do with them when I'm done, and the fact that that temperature that it needs to be heated up to, if I recall correctly, is somewhere in the 800s, and that's definitely going to remove all the hardening on your barrel and some of the other parts, which you definitely need to withstand all those pressures of the combustion when you pull the trigger and shoot your gun. So definitely don't want that happening. So for right now, this looks like there's nothing left in it. Everything is dissolved, so I'm actually going to go get some more and put it in. And I'm doing the sodium hydroxide first, and then after that I'll weigh out and slowly add I keep wanting to call it ammonium nitrate, it's fertilizer lingo. I want to add the sodium nitrate and bring it up to temp, and then I'm good to dip my stuff. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Alright, so I have the bluing salt mix right now, and it's heating up nicely. It's at about 235 degrees Fahrenheit. I was correct in my other one. It needs to go up to 165 Celsius, which is conveniently about 265 Fahrenheit, so significantly more than the boiling point. Also, the boiling point is 212 Fahrenheit. I have no idea why I said 220. Anyway, still waiting just a little bit, and then the parts are going to go in there, and they're going to cook for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. Take them out, place them in hot but not boiling water to stop the bluing process. I'm going to take them inside and rinse them really nice, dry them, and then probably card them just really lightly to get the any soot off that might form from being from sitting there in the bluing solution for a while. And then I'm going to put some water displacing oil on them so they don't rust, and let that sit for a little bit, and then I'll be able to put everything together. Alright, so I have the
parts in there now. They're starting to turn some colors. It has reached the temperature it's supposed to be at, 265. I'm going to have to turn the temperature up and down and try and control it as best as I can to leave it there. You don't want to cook it too hot or it starts to form that soot faster. So yeah, this is going to cook for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then I can take it out and we'll be good to go. Alright, so I took all the small parts out, except for the trigger guard, and one other piece. They weren't quite blued the way I like it. There was a little purple on them, and the rest of it was nice and dark. So I put those back in, and I'm doing those for another few minutes. And then, over here, I have all the nice, pretty blued parts and their springs, just for good measure, in some WD-40, which actually, the last thing on here drives out moisture. That's originally what it was for. It was water displacement batch number 40, or test number 40, that finally worked to their liking, whoever made it. So it's pretty good. It's gonna get it's gonna do basically what it says. It's gonna displace any water that's in there. After I took them out of here, out of the bluing salts, I had a batch of almost boiling water in there, and I put it in there to stop the bluing process, and then I would take it inside, and I rinsed it off really well. Can't emphasize that enough. And obviously there was water on it then, so I dried it as best as I could, took the heat gun to it for a second, and put it in the WD-40 where it's going to sit probably until tomorrow to make sure I get all the moisture off of it. And then I can put the gun back together. So I'm going to pull these out here in a couple minutes, and I didn't have to do any carding on the other pieces. There was no soot, which is good. You only get soot if you heat the bluing salt mixture up too high. So yeah, this is going to sit for another couple of minutes. So I'm going to take it out, and it should be exactly where I want it. I figured that it was unevenly blued because I had the opposite ends facing up last time, and there's more heat on the bottom and less heat on the top, so I figured that it was unevenly blued because of that. But regardless, it needed to go back in for a little bit longer. So anyway, it should be out pretty soon, and we will be all good. Alright, look at that beautiful bluing on there. Nice and dark, and everything is there. There's a bunch of WD-40 in here, kind of soaking out the water and replacing it with some oil. And then I'm obviously going to use some gun oil on it. I have some FP10 that I'll use on the springs and the parts that pivot, and then just some regular hops gun oil that I'll probably put on the whole thing, and I'll take a picture, take another video with it done, so you can see the difference. Thanks for joining me with this series of videos, and I hope it helped some of you decide if you're going to blue your gun or not, and others maybe decide that you'd rather take it to a gunsmith than put up with trying to do all that yourself. So anyway, once again, thanks for joining me, and I'll post a video or a picture of the finished product when it's all assembled.